dear, oh my, 10 o'clock and the shop's not opened yet. It's all because of that impending marriage, I tell you. What marriage? Oh, I thought you knew. Why, the marriage Mrs. Dolly Levi is arranging between Mr. Horace Vandegelder, the well-known Yonkers half-a-millionaire, and my personal employer and friend, Mrs. Irene Malloy. Although if you ask me, he'll never take the place of her late husband, Mr. Peter Malloy. May he rest in peace. Wherever he is, I'm not quite sure. He was a caution, you know. Oh, it's all too much. What with late husbands and new marriages, and on top of everything else. Miss Mortimer returned this hat for the 3rd time. Same old story. She wants cherries and feathers, cherries and feathers. To catch a beau, I suppose. Although if you ask me, she'd do better with a nice heavy veil. I told her ribbons down our back is what we'll be wearing this summer if we want to catch a gentleman's eye. But she'd have none of it. Cherries and feathers. Cherries and feathers she wants. On today of all days, when that poor, dear, sweet Mrs. Malloy has enough on her mind, what with...
With what, Minnie?
With the door. It's stuck.
It's stuck? Well, then push.
Mrs. Malloy, I could bite my tongue out for the things I've said and the things I'm going to say, but as long as I've gone this far, I might as well go all the way. Mrs. Malloy, why...
Say it, Minnie. Why am I marrying Horace Vandegelder?
Oh, no, Mrs. Malloy. I didn't ask you that. I'd rather die on the rack than ask you such a personal question. But, as long as we're on the subject...
I am marrying Horace Vandegelder for one reason, and one reason only. To get away from the millinery business. I hate hats!
Mrs. Malloy!
And I can no longer stand being suspected of being a wicked woman with nothing to show for it.
Mrs. Malloy!
Don't protest, Minnie. All millionaires are suspected of being wicked women. That's why I can't go to restaurants or balls or theaters. That's all the proof they need. Take my word for it, Minnie. Either I marry Horace Vandegelder, or I break out this place like a fire engine. Oh, Miss Mortimer again?
Miss Mortimer, I'll take care of it.
No, Minnie, leave it be. You can make another hat for Miss Mortimer if you like. I'll be wearing this one myself.
Mrs. Malloy, why, you can't. You're a widow, and that hat, well, it's provocative, that's what.
Is it, Minnie? Well, who knows who may walk into the shop today? And provocative may be just what I want to be.
Mrs. Malloy!
Gentleman's eye, and he might smile.
ask the next question I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask it anyhow. Do you love Mr. Horace Van de Gelder?
No, Minnie, I don't. Peter Malloy, God rest him, was my share of love in life, and I'm not saying that I was shortchanged. Once is enough for a woman, as long as it's true love, and it was that. Minnie, look! There's two men staring into the shop!
Men?
Why, I do believe they mean to come in here.
Men? In the shop? Oh, Mrs. Malloy, what shall we do?
Do? Why, flirt with them, of course. I'll give you the short one.
Mrs. Malloy, and you with all that talk about love.
Love enough I've had, Minnie. It's a bit of adventure I could do with now. We'll get them all heated up, and then drop them cold. It'll be good practice for married life. Now, you go back into the workroom. I know some ways we can perk up our appearances. Besides, a bit of a wait will only make them more nervous and much easier to flirt with.
Mrs. Malloy!
Oh, Minnie, we'll get an adventure out of this yet.
We'll get an adventure out of this yet, Barnaby. All day long we wander the streets of New York. Then we come to the quietest street in the city, and suddenly...
Vandergelder!
Is he still out there? Go look.
He's sitting right on that bench. Are you sure this is still an adventure?
You don't have to ask. When you're in one, you'll know it all right. How much money have you got left?
40 cents for the way back, 30 cents for dinner, and 20 cents to see the whale. 90 cents. Why?
When those women come back out here, we'll have to pretend to be customers. Customers, that's it. Maybe the best thing to do is make them think we're rich. Then we won't have to spend anything at all. We're two men about the town looking for hats for ladies. Good afternoon, Mrs.
Malloy.
Here, Cornelius Hackle.
Here, Barnaby Tucker.
My pleasure, gentlemen. Now, what can I do for you,
Well, you see, we're two ladies about town looking for some hats to Malloy and...
We're hats, you see, and we wanted a lady or two to Malloy with.
We want a hat. For a lady, of course. And everybody said to go to Mrs. Malloy's because she's so pretty. I mean because her hats are so pretty.
And so reasonable as under $1, so we can see the whale.
You've got to pay him no mind, man. He's come all the way from Yonkers to see the stuffed whale, and he's all excited. Just keep your eye on that street, Barnaby, and maybe he'll see you pass by.
Is it big and black with little red eyes?
Yes?
It's sitting right on that bench.
Excuse me, but did you say Yonkers, Mr. Hackle?
Oh, yes, ma'am, Yonkers. And pardon me for saying this, but you should see Yonkers. And by that I mean perhaps Mr. Malloy would like to see Yonkers as well.
Oh, I'm a widow, Mr. Hackle.
You are? Barnaby! She's a widow! Oh, that's too bad. I'm sure Mr. Malloy would have enjoyed Yonkers, especially in that hat. On you, of course, not Mr. Malloy. May he rest in peace. You're Catholic, aren't you? Well, don't let that worry you. I'd be willing to change. Mrs. Malloy, if you should ever happen to have a Sunday off in the near future, I'd be more than pleased to show you Yonkers from top to bottom.
Well, as a matter of fact, I might be there sooner than you think.
Oh, really?
You see, I have a friend that lives in Yonkers.
Do you?
Perhaps you know him.
Perhaps we do.
Oh, it's always so silly to ask in cases like that, isn't it? It's a Mr. Van de Gelder.
Horace Van de Gelder?
Of Vandergelder's hay and feed?
Do you know him?
No.
Mr. Van de Gelder's a substantial man, and well-liked, they tell me.
A lovely man, Mrs. Malloy. Just lovely. Has only one fault as far as I know. He's as hard as nails.
Cornelius, I think...
Now, I wonder if your friends might like...
Look out!
Gentlemen, what are you doing?
Excuse us, Mrs. Malloy. Help us, Mrs. Malloy. We'll explain everything later.
Come out of here this minute!
We're as innocent as can be, Mrs. Malloy.
Well, really? Mr. Hackle, Mr. Tucker, I insist that you
Mrs. Malloy. I don't suppose Mrs. Levi is here, is she? She was supposed to meet me 10 minutes ago on that bench. Well, if she does come, she can just go looking. You see, when I make an appointment with people, I like them to be on time. I brought a gift for you. Chocolate-covered peanuts. On shelf. That's the expensive kind. Did I just see you talking with two men?
Men? Men, Mr. Van de Gelder? What would men be doing in a ladies' hat shop? Well, now let's go back into my workroom. I'm so anxious for you to see it.
I saw it last week.
So you did. Well, Mr. Van de Gelder, what's new in the hay and feed business? I understand that you have 3 friends all hard as nails.
What on earth are you talking about?
Yonkers. I hear it's a beautiful city.
And who has been telling you of Yonkers, may I ask?
Nobody. A friend.
A friend.
Well, you see, he was just...
He?
A customer, Mr. Van de Gelder. And someone quite well-to-do, as a matter of fact. He was in here buying hats for ladies. Perhaps you know him, although it's always so silly to ask in cases like that. It's Mr. Cornelius Hackle.
Did you say Hackle?
Why, yes.
Why, he just happens to be my chief clerk, that's all. Mrs. Malloy, I demand an explanation.
And I'm going to give it to you. Why shouldn't she know Cornelius Hackle? Everyone in New York knows Cornelius Hackle. Why, he's here. At the opera, in all the fashionable homes. Why, he dines at the Harmonia Gardens restaurant 3 times a week.
Impossible. He's only got $146.35, and I keep it in my own safe.
Oh, Mr. Van de Gelder, you're killing me. He's one of the Hackles. They built the canal.
What canal?
The Erie boat.
It ain't the same man.
Who took the horses out of Jenny Lind's carriage and carried her through the streets? Cornelius Hackle. And who dressed up as a waiter at the Fifth Avenue Hotel and dropped an oyster down Mrs. Astor's? Well, I can't say it, but it was Cornelius. He's the playboy of New York. Now, Irene, don't deny it. I can see you were taken with him just like everyone else.
Dolly, what are you saying? I've only met him once in my life.
Excuse me?
Of course.
Thank you. Mrs. Malloy, did you... There's a man in there! Mrs. Malloy!
See here, Mrs. Levi, if there is a man in that closet.
No, Mr. Van de Gelder, you can't. It's too dangerous.
No man that hides in a lady's closet can frighten me. Now stand aside.
No man indeed. No, I'm sure you'd make short work of any man with those muscles. I can see them now rippling back and forth underneath your jacket. Ripple, ripple, back and forth. Ripple, ripple,
For
ripple.
the last time, Mrs. Levi, will you stand aside?
Stand indeed, Mr. Van de Gelder. That's exactly what the courts will want to know when you're accused of entering that closet without a search warrant. I mean, what do you stand for if you don't stand for the law of this great land? I know what I stand for. I stand for motherhood, America, and a hot lunch for orphans. Take off your hat, sir. Betsy Ross's flag is passing. You see him on a hill at Gettysburg. Lead that great triumphal march. If you see him as he's tramping through the grapes of wrath, stand up and march, march, march.
Has this not affected you, sir? I came here at 14 years of age as an immigrant girl from the lands that oppressed my people, and I must echo what was said by that great and patriotic American,
Moses?
I stand for motherhood, America, and a march for orphans. Take off your hat, stand as a tear-stained eagle passing. Do you see him on the bridge at Waterloo? Leave that great triumphal march. If you hear it singing Dixie in the sugar cane, stand up and march, march, march. I stand for America and
Gelder. There couldn't possibly be a man in this closet.
Achoo!
God bless you.
Mrs. Malloy.
All right, there is a man in that closet,
Aha!
and another under that table.
What in the world?
And there also happens to be a very simple explanation. But for the present, good afternoon.
Good grief, the whole room's crawling with men. I'll never get over it. I take it I'll see you this afternoon, Mr. Van de Gelder.
You most certainly will, Mrs. Levi, with a certain young lady at the end of the parade. Good day, Mrs. Malloy.
Mrs. Malloy, I can explain everything.
I do not want to hear any explanations, Mr. Hackle. Just you and Mr. Tucker do me the favor of leaving my shop at once, or I will send for Officer Gogarty.
Well, if you ask me, Irene, calling in officers letting them off too easy. The law courts, that's where they belong. I've been adding up the legal offenses these two have committed, and I say you have grounds for at least 2 writs, a non-compos mentis and a garnishee. But the main thing is to show that you've tried to settle it amicably first. Have dinner with them.
Dinner?
Is that absolutely necessary, darling?
It's the way things are done in the law, Irene. Dinner first, garnishee afterward.
Well, if it must be. Mr. Hackle, Mr. Tucker, you may take Miss Fay and myself to dinner.
Delighted, Mrs. Malloy. I speak for Barnaby as well. Now, I hear there is a very fine restaurant in the railroad station.
Oh no, Mr. Hackle. If the Harmonia Gardens is good enough for your fashionable friends, it's good enough for us. I hear they have a wonderful orchestra there, Minnie.
Oh, we couldn't do that, Mrs. Malloy. It's not the money or anything. It's the
whale!
It's the whale. No, it isn't the whale, Barnaby! It's the dancing. You see, they have dancing in places like that. Exhibitions, even contests, and I don't know how. And it would take me days, weeks, months, years to... Mrs. Dolly Levi, 33-year-old sheep clerks, taught how to dance.
Now it's simple. You put one arm here and one arm here, and then...
It's no use. I have absolutely no sense of rhythm.
Absolutely no sense of rhythm is one of the primary requirements for learning by the Gallagher-Levi method. Just give me 5 minutes of your time, Mr. Hackle, and I'll have you dancing in the streets. We'll start with lesson 7, the waltz kick turn. Right foot touch, left foot touch, under, back, around touch, back through, out, over, release, unfurl. That's wonderful. When I think of the lucky women who will find heaven in your arms. Let's go back to lesson 1. Put your hand on her waist and stand with her right in your left hand. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wow, I'm dancing. Well, I was.
Of course you were, Mr. Hackle. Take the someone whose arms you're in. Hold on to her tight and spin. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Wow, I'm dancing.
Turn around, try floating through the air. Can't you be a little more aesthetic?
Don't you think my dancing hands are polished and athletic?
The word I think I'd use is athletic.
For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that I'm dancing, who cares if I ever stop?
Look at me, everybody. Hi, Cornelius Hackle. Sport. I'm dancing.
You're next, Mr. Tucker.
Oh,
Glide and step and then step and glide.
And every
he's dancing.
You could learn to polka if you work a week or so, or the tango filled with passion, seething.
I join the chorus of the Castle Garden show.
Well, whatever you do, for Pete's sake, keep breathing. For my heart is about to burst. My head is about to pop. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? When there's someone you hardly know, but wish you were closer to, remember that he can be near to you while you're dancing. Though you've only just said hello, he's suddenly someone who can make all your daydreams appear to you while you're dancing. Make the music weave a spell, whirl away your worries. Things look almost twice as well when there's slightly blurry. As around and around you go, your spirits will hit the top. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And now that we're dancing, who cares if we ever stop? Look who's here. Mrs. Levi. How are you, Mrs. Levi? How are you, Mrs. Rose?
The same. Pains in my back, aches in my side, stabs in my liver. I'm fine. Oh, my daughter Fanny got married, you know. Did she? A year ago, last September. It's been a long time since you've been here, Mrs. Levi. Such a long, long time.
Ephraim? Let me go, Ephraim. It's been long enough. Every night for years, I've let out the cat, locked the door, made myself a little rum toddy, and then said my prayers thanking God that I was independent, that no one else's life was mixed up in mine. And then one night, an oak leaf fell out of my Bible. I put it there the day you asked me to marry you. Perfectly good oak leaf, but without life and without color. And I realized that I was like that oak leaf, For years I had neither shed one tear nor been filled with a wonderful hope that something might turn out well. And so, I've decided to rejoin the human race. And Ephraim, I want you to give me away. Before the parade